Welcome to this week's episode of our 93 Days. We appreciate you tuning in. Today is October 27th, and I am tucked into a tree stand behind my house on my home property here. This is my main spot back here, and I actually have not hunted it once. Usually to this point I've hunted it 6 to 8 times, but just based on trail camera pictures and have other bucks that's showing up on some of my permission properties, I just haven't hunted back here. But it feels good to be back in this spot. This is the spot I killed my first ever buck with a bow, so it definitely brings back a lot of good memories sitting back here. I've got deer coming. Well, it's a pretty good start to the night. I actually had a little buck cruise through as I was at the base of the tree too, so I've already seen a handful of deer. But as I was saying, I haven't been back here since the first week of October, hence maybe why there's a good early movement tonight. I definitely haven't pressured this place at all, so. But on this week's episode, we're going to show you my last couple days of hunting. I was able to spend the last 4 days down at our southern Michigan farm doing a bunch of hunting. I was able to pull the trigger as well as be a part of a big and a really nice buck recovery too. So it was a really fun week. And then we're also going to check in with Steve and see how the beginning of his season has went. So to wrap it up, we'll show you anything else that comes through here tonight. This is going to be my last hunt for a while, as we have a really warm temperatures coming in this week. Highs in like the mid to upper 70s, which is just crazy for late October. So with that warm weather coming in, we're going to try to enjoy this last nice evening for the next week or so. And hopefully this apparent deer parade keeps up as the night progresses. It is Wednesday, October 23rd, and I am back in the tree stand in the same spot that I had the buck parade on October 4th. Things have definitely changed down here since the last time I was on this farm. The woods is a lot more yellow and red, and the corn is a lot drier, and it finally feels like good deer movement weather. I'm going to be hunting down here for the next 4 or 5 hunts, probably through Saturday morning, and I'll take you through my whole entire week here and just kind of see how things progress and what strategies I use to try to get on some deer. I am definitely doe hunting. If I get any crack in an adult doe throughout the trip, I'm definitely gonna try to get that done. But the buck sign down here right now in this area is better than I think I've ever seen it. I passed 4 or 5 scrapes, a couple of them with fresh pea in them, just along this edge within the last 100 yards of the stand. And I'm only sitting about 250 yards just on the other end of the field from where my dad had all those buck encounters on the last episode, which was just about 5 days ago or so. I'm actually sharing the farm with 3 of my uncles and 1 of my aunts who are all hunting this weekend, so that should be really cool. Between the 5 of us, I'm sure hoping some of us have some action. We'll take you along on any recoveries that we get to take part in as well. My uncle is actually sitting about 170 yards from me straight across the field. And we're both kind of hunting different corridors, but if anything utilizes this end of the field, one of us should be in the chips. Well, I've got a nice buck feeding at like 60 yards in the corn. It's actually the same buck. It's the biggest of the three that I passed up the last weekend down here. And I've got to look at him for a long time, and I'm not going to shoot him if he comes in. We got about 40 minutes left. The wind hasn't really died down, but it's definitely cooling off. It feels good out here. Hopefully something else happens here in the last little bit. Well, that's been a heck of a night. That second buck that came in was a good one. I'd have shot him. He was probably 115-ish. He just snuck along the edge of the corn. He was at like 40 yards and then turned and headed south into the woods, like they often do in this spot. And then a little while later, I hear a bunch of crashing and look up, and that buck that I passed is coming right at me in the corn, and he ended up coming right into the woods, like right underneath me. Sounded like my uncle was trying to stop a deer. So I don't know what was going on, but as far as I know, there was no shots fired. So we're down to about 15 minutes left. I'm assuming that's the end of it. We'll see you in the timber in the morning. Well, it was a pretty slow start to October 24th. I came into this little transition spot between some hardwoods, bedding, and some low-lying swamp. And this is usually a pretty good spot for doe movement as these deer kind of cross this top or work the edge of this bedding. We have a mock scrape in front of us here, but not much movement this morning. I saw 3 little deer, one of which I was able to film. A little doe fawn came right by the stand. And then I had a decent 2-year-old buck work through at about 90 yards. So, I mean, nothing real exciting for the morning, nothing that I would shoot. We're gonna pack up here shortly, head back to the house, and then get back out somewhere tonight. Well, feels like deja vu. Heading back into the same stand that I hunted last night. The same stand that I've hunted 3 other times prior this year. Definitely over hunting it, but the wind is right, and it feels like that's got the best deer sign of anywhere on this property right now that we can hunt. I'm gonna go sneak back in there and see if the pattern continues. Well, that was pretty cool. Not sure how good you can see it with the weird glare from the sun, but we have a bunch of does to shoot on this property, and that was too good of an opportunity to pass up. So I'm gonna hop down. Well, I actually am down. I'm gonna walk over and gut her quick. It's still only 4:45. We have over 2 hours until dark. So I'm gonna get her gutted and airing out a little bit, and then hop back up in the stand. Well, that's gonna about wrap up this hunt. I saw a couple other deer running around spooked the rest of the evening, but my uncle, who's sitting just across the field from me, has a buck hit. So we're gonna get down and get my doe out of here, and then hopefully follow a blood trail and hopefully be able to show you a buck tonight.
Yep, that's more like it. Alright. A lot of antler. Very good at it. Look at that little sweet deal here. Oh, man. Cool beans. I am an unseasoned outdoors fanatic. This is a buck that Mikey saw. He's got it on video. Was that last episode? Yeah. So you'll be able to see him on the hoof. But yeah, we'll take him.
Well, that's gonna about wrap up this evening's hunt. I've not seen a deer. Pretty slow, pretty discouraging. Hopefully some of the other guys had a little more luck.
2 2-year-old bucks early, and that was it. Slow. So can't believe there weren't some small bucks and does out cruising, walking around, but maybe that means they'll move like crazy in the morning.
Well, this morning's hunt is coming to a close. It was pretty slow. I need to keep reminding myself that it's not November yet. Definitely expected to see more deer. But I did pass up that nice 2-year-old. He definitely tempted me. Kind of the same story with the rest of them I've seen this year. I would definitely shoot him later in the year. But I really just don't want to burn a tag on a 2-year-old with my bow on this farm when there's a decent chance that I can get a shot at something similar at my home property or any of my permission farms. Sounds like my dad saw a couple smaller bucks and not much else, so definitely one of those mornings that you think you should see a bunch of cruising, and a similar morning in a couple weeks. We probably will, but that's still only October 26th. Things are starting, but those bucks aren't cruising super heavily yet. So it's been a really fun couple days down here, though. I definitely am pumped to have filled one of those doe tags. Definitely have a lot more work to do as far as shooting more does here, but that's a good start. And we did see a lot of bucks. It was fun being part of my uncle's buck recovery, but as well as all the smaller bucks that I saw too. And we're still getting trail cam pictures of a couple of our big boys, so it's a good sign for the coming weeks. Thanks for following along on my last couple hunts, and we'll see you in the tree at a later date.
Hey guys, it's Steve. Just thought I'd check in with you. It is the 27th of October today. I know I've been out as much as I can. It's been a pretty rough season for me so far. I've been out, I've been seeing deer. It's all at a distance for me. I've had some does up close that I elected to pass on, thinking that I'd have another shot at them the next day, and I was wrong. So that's just decisions we make as hunters, and sometimes it comes back to bite us. So that's all that is. The year started out with EHD in my normal area. I like to hunt on public down in Allegan County. It's just it hit it really hard. To be truthful, I haven't even been down there personally. My hunting partner there, he's been down there, and he's found a lot of dead deer and smelled a lot more. So I elected to concentrate more so on the northern part of Michigan and a few spots locally around Grand Rapids that I have permission to hunt. So that's what I've been doing. So that's the way it started with EHD. And then for a week and a half or so, I was fighting some truck issues and ended up selling my truck and buying a new one. So that whole process, so that took some out of my hunting time, but such is life. So, But I have been out. I was out yesterday and some public land along the Grand River. I saw one spike horn and some does. Another spike horn came by about 15 yards. Not something I was interested in. The does, they skirted ways out, so I was looking. I was willing to shoot a doe there. And then this morning I hunted a small chunk out in Ada. But from the moment I got in the stand, I had deer walking all over me, so I wasn't even able to really set up the big camera. And then once it got light, I didn't want to create all the motion of setting the camera up. So, but I did wind up seeing about 9:30 a doe in a small 8-point. I had my GoPro on, but they're 40 yards in some brush and you can't see it. But they were there. Yeah, like I say, I have been out. Got some bucks that have popped up that I'd really like to try to get on. There's a nice 10-point. I'm calling him C10 up north for a clean 10. He's just a nice 10-point. I have a hunch he's related to this guy right here. He's not quite as big, but he's got the mass and he's got the same kind of a frame. So I'd like to get caught up with him. I'm taking the first week of November and going up there for the week. I'm going to be doing a lot of public land hunting, some on our private land, just all over the place, trying to figure out some new places up there. So then out at Jake's, we have a couple bucks running around. One was a real nice, looked like a 3 or 4 year old 8-point. He was nice and heavy. And we had another buck come in. He's got a real nice right side on him, and the left side's kind of goobered up. I call him half-wit, so because he's half with it. So he's going to he'd be a cool one to get. That's a really nice buck. Haven't seen him for a while, but it's a rut. It's knocking on the door. It's coming real close. So hopefully everyone else is having a good time. I know Alex is knocking the does down like crazy. So that's awesome. So at this time of year, I'm not too keen on shooting does. I'll probably at this point save that for gun season and late season. But so hopefully next week we'll get on some deer and have a better week than the season has gave me already. So hope everyone else is doing well. Everyone else's season. Hopefully the guys that hunt the areas that got slammed with EHD are seeing better circumstances than I am. But unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. So we got to roll with the punches and keep on trucking. So thanks, guys.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Definitely a fun trip down to the Cass County farm, and looking forward to the coming weeks hunting down there. Hopefully get a shot at a nice buck. It's been a beautiful night, but nothing else has showed. If anything else comes through, we'll bring it to you. But like I mentioned, this next week is going to be really warm, so I don't anticipate a lot of us hunting a ton. But as soon as any kind of cold front rolls through in the first week or two in November, it's going to be really good. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Good luck out there as the rut comes kicking in, even with the heat. Never know, you could still catch a buck on his feet. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here next week Wednesday for the next episode of 93 Days.